Hi, welcome to our signature event, our Red Jacket panel, Ignite. I'm Taryn Grome, editor and co-founder of Pharma Voice. This year, we welcomed 7 inspirational, innovative, and incredible leaders as Red Jacket honorees into an elite group of life sciences executives. Last year, when we met for our first ever virtual celebration event, we spoke of the need for courageous leadership and an unwavering commitment to patients as the industry and the world faced unprecedented disruption. Today, we continue to face many of those same issues, which requires leaders from all sectors of healthcare to ignite change in their organization, blaze new trails, and spark innovative thinking to meet the road ahead. We, as a global healthcare community, continue to face tremendous challenges that must be overcome: environmental, societal, and scientific. Yet I am heartened by the knowledge that smart, passionate, innovative, and inspirational leaders from all sectors of the life sciences industry are working tirelessly to meet what's ahead head on. These individuals are our Pharma Voice 100 and Red Jacket honorees. Before I formally introduce our Red Jackets for this year, please join me in celebrating our 2021 Pharma Voice 100s.
Now we will recognize the Pharma Voice 100s. Sam Agresta, Foghorn Therapeutics. Alicia Alaimo, Biogen. Philip Astley Spark, Replimune. Kumar Badampudi, Medtrix Healthcare. Sophia Begg, Parexel. Esther Bank, Bristol Myers Squibb. Melissa Barnhart, CMI Media Group. Graham Belgrave, Advanced Clinical. Shida Sej Bina, Insignium. Norbert Bischofberger, PhD, Kronos Bio. Wendy Blackburn, InTouch Group. Roshan Blunt, 1798, a finger paint company. Rob Bohawks, Clin One. James Kyle Bryan, MD, IQVIA Biotech. Victor Bulto, Novartis Pharmaceuticals Corp. Amy Bird, Ph.D., the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Brooke Castleberry, NNIT. Tony Coles, M.D., Cerevel Therapeutics. Athena Contriadis, M.D., Turning Point Therapeutics. Kate Cronin, Ogilvy Health. Diana Kukos, Ph.D., Syneos Health. Jade Cusick, Kantar Health. Jenna Daniels, Medable. Rhonda Dean, Afaxis Inc. Glenn DeVries, Medidata. Eve Dreyer, Travere Therapeutics. Amy Duras, Venetti. Joe Dustin, Bristol Myers Squibb. Stanley Irk, Novavax. Sam Glassenberg, Level X. Melanie Gloria, Horizon Therapeutics. Rob Goodwin, Pfizer. Lori Grant, Click Health. Kate Haviland, Blueprint Medicines. Shannon Heacock, Ways Pharmaceutical Services, LLC. Kristen Hage, MD, Bristol Myers Squibb. Quita Highsmith, Genentech. Peyton Howell, Parexel. Lan Huang, Ph.D., Beyond Spring Pharmaceuticals. Patricia Herder, Ph.D., Lindra Therapeutics. Ed Ikaguchi, AI Cure. Raj Indipuri, eClinical Solutions. Charlotte Jones Burton, MD, Otsuka Pharmaceutical Companies. Kirsten Kontak, Biolumina. Liz Kay, Quarter Moon Communications. Amin Kara, Worldwide Clinical Trials. Jim Lang, Eversana. Paul Lanzetta, Merck. Karsten Linneman, PhD, Neogene Therapeutics. Roger Longman, Real Endpoints. Noah Lowenthal, Abelson Taylor. Kamala Madali, PhD, Deep Lens. Amir Malka, Bioforum, The Data Masters. Dave Morrow, Antidote Technologies. Grant McFadden, PhD, Oncomix Therapeutics. Veer Mehta, Halo Health. Allison Moore, PhD, Allogene Therapeutics. Angie Namanuk, Genentech. David Uri, Medical Leverage. Sandra Pelletier, Evofem Biosciences. Deanna Peterson, Avro Bio. Guillaume Pfeffer, MD, Senda Biosciences. Andy Plump, MD, PhD, Takeda Pharmaceutical Company Limited. Tara Powers, Elevate Healthcare. Anshul Purohit, Purohit Navigation. Eleanor Ramos, MD, Provention Bio. Marianne Rizk, PhD, Rizk Management. Al Robichaud, Sage Therapeutics. James Robinson, Urovant Sciences. Christian Rogers, Pascal Communications. Amy Ronneberg, Be the Match. Christine Roth, GSK. Kathy April Rush, AbbVie. Malaikanan Sankarasubu, Sama Technologies. Josh Scholler, LexisNexis Risk Solutions. Ramona Sequeira, Takeda Pharmaceuticals Inc. Nitin Seth, Incedo Inc. Karen Shoshan, McCann Health. Uma Sinha, PhD, BridgeBio Pharma. Nagaraja Srivatsan, IQVIA. Murray Stewart, MD, Rhythm Pharmaceuticals. Ellen Street, ERT. Paul Peter Tack, MD, PhD, Candle Therapeutics. James Tellerico, Heartbeat. Kent Thulk, Icon PLC. Sheila Thorne, Multicultural Healthcare Marketing Group, LLC. Akshay Vaishnaw, MD, PhD, Anilum Pharmaceuticals. Edward Vaz, P360. Greg Verdine, PhD, LifeMind Therapeutics, Fog Pharma. Jessica Vermeulen, MD, Janssen Pharmaceutical Companies of Johnson & Johnson. Mike Vizel, Bionicle LLC. Steve Viviano, QB Fox Healthcom. Brian Wamhoff, PhD, Hemoshear Therapeutics Inc. Terry Weber, BioTE Medical. Jim Weiss, Real Chemistry. Jennifer Wellman, Aquos. Nate Weibel, Precision Scientia. Stacy Wu, MD, Synovian Pharmaceuticals Inc. Anthony Yanni, MD, Astellas. Heather Zenk, Amerisource Bergen. Congratulations to all of our 2021 Pharma Voice 100 honorees.
Thank you to our Dan Limbach, who narrated that slideshow. And I also want to offer my sincere congratulations to this year's list of attendees, who have I had the pleasure of getting to know over the past several months. Hopefully you've been with us throughout the day and had a chance to lean in and hear from dozens of our Pharma Voice 100s who shared their insights on inspired leadership, building high-performing teams, creating cultures that embrace innovative thinking, and more. We also heard how they are igniting change, blazing new trails, and sparking innovation. If you missed any of these amazing panels and roundtables, I understand the morning sessions are already available thanks to our amazing event partner, Momentum, and our producer extraordinaire, Raquel Guzman. And this afternoon sessions will be available on demand shortly. They will remain accessible for the next 60 days under the Agenda tab. Our sincere thanks to all of our panelists in our Pharma Voice 100 community of honorees from throughout the years, from 2005 to the present, for being part of this fantastic day, as well as our really engaged audience. Now on to our panel Ignite. I'd like to sincerely thank our signature sponsor, Synovian Pharmaceuticals, for its generous sponsorship once again of our Red Jacket panel. They are a valued partner, and we are so grateful for the trust they have in us, and we continue to be impressed by the work they are doing on behalf of patients around the world. Please take a look at how they are igniting change.
Synovian is proud to be a long-standing sponsor of the Pharma Voice 100 celebration. We salute Pharma Voice for honoring our industry and recognizing inspired leadership. For many years, Synovian has stood together with the innovators, change agents, and other leaders in the Pharma Voice 100, recognized for advancing women in life sciences, cultivating intellectual and scientific freedom, leveraging neurological and psychiatric expertise, and collaborating globally to ignite innovation. We have joined the Pharma Voice 100 to spark inspiration, ignite change, and blaze new trails in the life sciences world. At Synovian, we take on tomorrow for patients, because for them, tomorrow is everything. It is the promise we make and the challenge we give ourselves every day. Take on tomorrow. Learn how we take on tomorrow for patients at Synovian.com. Proud sponsor of the Pharma Voice 100 celebration.
Thank you again, Synovian. We couldn't do it without you. In 2014, we marked the milestone of the 10th anniversary of the Pharma Voice 100 by initiating our version of a Hall of Fame, the Red Jacket Awards. The criteria we established resonate more intensely today than ever. These are individuals who cross a multitude of industry sectors. They are raising the bar in terms of what it means to be an inspired leader for their teams, their companies, their communities, and for the industry at large. Red Jacket honorees challenge us to think differently, act differently, and lead differently. They create new opportunities, making what was once impossible possible. They focus beyond short-term gains and are committed to executing their long-term visions in a tightly regulated and competitive industry. They have a persistence of vision. They are truly transforming the life sciences industry to create better health outcomes for all. They are inspired leaders for today and tomorrow. Every year, it's an honor to recognize these special individuals who I have gotten to know over the years, and this year is certainly no exception. Cheers to Asana Wan, Jack Barrett, Olivier Chateau, Lori Cook, Debbie Hart, Dr. Anthony Lobel, and Stephen Michelson. Welcome to the Red Jacket Club. I'm going to start off in alphabetical order as I do everything with Asana Wan. To say Asan is a man of many talents is an understatement. He epitomizes what it means to be an overachiever with his vision firmly focused on the future. And Asan has never met a challenge, nor an opportunity he didn't accept. His interests and talents are as varied as his considerable professional accomplishments. He has a law degree, an MBA in healthcare, a master's in pharmacy and pharmacoeconomics, and a BS in political science and human development. He is an entrepreneur extraordinaire, having started several companies, as well as a new medical school in the United States. Yet he is much more than the sum of his biopharma, SCM, clinical development, digital health, middleware, mobile, and web tech parts. From climate change to health pandemics to political and civil unrest, Asan is using his considerable talents and and insatiable curiosity to make a difference and to help save the planet and humanity. He is a visionary who will continue to shape and reshape the life sciences industry for years to come. Oh, and by the way, he's also a highly acclaimed sports photographer, has a green thumb, and runs marathons. Congratulations, Hassan. Jack Barrett. Jack gave a voice to many who had no voice, patient advocates. In 2007, Jack embarked on an entrepreneurial journey that rolled up his many talents and interests as a healthcare marketer, internet pioneer, social health zealot, and advocate for patient collaboration to create Regal Health. Regal Health was the first online home for consumer health activists, giving them a voice within the industry and helping the world's top health and pharmaceutical brands support, navigate, and participate in the evolving world of health social media. By giving voice to social media's most active patients who are passionate about helping others lead healthier lives, under Jack's steady and inspiring guidance, Regal Health now has more than 100,000 patient advocates and influencers working to transform healthcare. Jack's vision for how patient leaders could transform the life sciences landscape led to the launch of the highly acclaimed Patient Leader Awards a decade ago. These awards are more than just hardware. These recognitions shine a bright light on the heroes of our industry, patients. As the Pharma Voice team was pulling together our special July-August issue this year, something remarkable happened. Unbeknownst to us, two of our Red Jacket honorees this year joined forces. This summer, the Regal Health family joined Health Union, which was co-founded by our next honoree, Olivier Chateau, a truly synergistic union. At Health Union, Jack will continue to stretch his visionary muscles as the new Chief Innovation Officer. Congratulations all around, Jack. Olivier Chateau. With the addition of Regal Health, Olivier's vision to help patients in their day-to-day lives by creating and building content that is relevant to them at the moment that matters the most in a safe environment where they feel understood and validated will only lead not only to bigger, but better. Health Union is a human story first and foremost, and it's focused on understanding patients' needs and meeting those needs in a way that had not been done before. What started with one online health community, migraine.com, in 2010, under Olivier's impassioned guidance, Health Union has exploded into 34 communities with more coming online all the time, with up to 60 plus slated by the end of 2024. Olivier is committed to redefining social health through a people-first approach, the patients they serve, as well as the teams of employees who serve them. Olivier is forging a triangle of success by remaining true to Health Union's mission, to delight patient communities by providing the content that they're looking for, the support that is required, and the validation they need to live better, healthier lives. He firmly believes that the companies of the future will be defined by the values that they have and the impact they have on people first. Olivier has created a movement, and he and Health Union are on a path to help people and make a big impact. Congratulations, Olivier. Lori Cook. For the past 15 years, Lori led the charge as a committed steward of the Healthcare Businesswomen's Association's mission and brand. This July, she announced her retirement, but her legacy as a leader of leaders will be forever woven into the fabric of the HBA. This is a personal cause for me. Over the course of her tenure at the helm of the volunteer-led organization, Lori guided the HBA to extraordinary heights. A few of the milestones achieved under her leadership include the tripling of its membership, now close to 12,000 members, representing 1,200 plus companies from more than 60 countries. More than tripling its roster of corporate partners and overseeing a global brand that stands for a united force for change. As servant leader, Lori has mentored hundreds of women and has provided value counsel to dozens of CEOs and other corporate leaders. One of her most notable accomplishments against the HBA's mission was the launch and sustained success of the HBA's Gender Parity Collaborative, which she considers to be a cornerstone of her legacy. Lori has positively impacted more careers than she'll ever know, and the ripple effects of her leadership will resonate for years to come. The industry is far better because of her passion, vision, wisdom, and thoughtful commitment to changing the status quo and being a champion for women. Congratulations, Lori. I'm just as emotional about this next woman because Debbie Hart, she has this mantra, because patients can't wait. This is Debbie's rallying cry and the core of everything that BioNJ stands for as a Life Sciences Association for New Jersey. As the founding president and CEO of BioNJ, Debbie has been rallying companies around this mission since 1994. She's the ultimate convener and actionator. 27 years ago, she set out to help the then emerging New Jersey biotech industry realize its full potential. And today, New Jersey's life sciences industry, which under BioNJ includes a network of almost 400 members representing research-based companies and stakeholders. It's an international powerhouse accounting for more than 300,000 direct and indirect jobs, more than 3,200 life sciences establishments, and an annual economic impact of more than $83 billion. Just last year, in 2020, more than 40% of all novel FDA approvals came from a company with a footprint in New Jersey, not to mention the first COVID-19 saliva test, as well as the first COVID-19 vaccine coming from her home state. Debbie's list of accolades is too long to account for in the short time we have. Suffice it to say that she is an influencer extraordinaire, a trusted counselor by politicians on both sides of the aisle, and a committed leader to her team. Under her guidance, BioNJ is stimulating and supporting innovation, improving and saving lives, and lowering the hurdles of healthcare advancements for society. Congratulations, Debbie. Dr. Anthony Lobel. He is on a mission to transform the field of central nervous system drug discovery and development. His passion for this space began while as a resident in psychiatry and research fellow in clinical neurosciences at the Zucker Hillside Hospital in New York, which is renowned for bringing, pardon me, in New York, and a fellow at the American Psychiatric Association, a fellow of the American College of Neuropsychopharmacology. He wanted to have a bigger impact, including opportunities to investigate new medicines, to conduct clinical trials, and to bring new therapies forward. He has been currently extremely successful thus far and is not about to rest on his laurels. He is passionately committed to the successful development of new treatments for patients with brain disorders and bringing innovations to research and development. He asks his teams to continuously rethink and reinvent neuropsychiatric drug discovery in terms of both compound and development methodologies to be able to identify new drug candidates that are superior to existing pharmacotherapies across a range of neuropsychiatric disease areas. He believes his job, or the collective task at Synovian, will never be over until they can truly prevent and/or cure CNS illnesses. Dr. Lobel, congratulations. Stephen Michelson. Stephen quite simply makes magic happen. For more than 3 decades, Stephen has been leading the charge of creative execution, strategic agility, and talent development in the world of advertising. 25 of those years focused on pharmaceuticals and managing high-performing brand teams that are laser-focused on delivering for the client. He has started not one, but 2 very successful and highly awarded advertising agencies, bringing his unique spin and creative perspective to build a winning culture on the foundation of commitment, integrity, and respect. Stephen says it's a simple formula: great people plus great clients equals success. But that formula is anything but simple. It takes leadership at the highest level and a commitment to developing great people. For Stephen, the work is as important as the people who are bringing the work to life. He thinks of his agency as a family business, and he draws great joy from knowing that he is providing opportunities for his teams to grow in their professional and personal lives. He believes that when you get the right group of people together, which is in art in and of itself, that's when the magic happens. Advertising is his passion, and Stephen brings a unique perspective drawn from his art student days to tackle complex challenges and problem solve for his clients who are working hard on behalf of patients. Congratulations, Stephen. And now to the stage are our 2021 Pharma Voice Red Jacket honorees. Welcome, and we look forward to your insights on creating a transformative and innovative culture, and what you believe will be the biggest area of transformation for the industry, either culturally, therapeutically, technologically, and what is the fuel needed to ignite change to create a healthier world. I have to apologize. I had a slight glitch in there. We had a little power outage, and I lost my screen, so I'm so sorry. So keeping in alphabetical order, because that's how I like to organize my world, let's kick off with you, Hassan. You have created and launched multiple companies and organizations. What are your keys to developing and sustaining an innovative culture?
Boy, what are my keys? And thank you for the amazing introduction, by the way. It's kind of awkward to hear it sometimes. I just kind of want to duck. Um, I think that the key really has been teams, building teams and creating teamwork, delegating to a trusted group, and working to inspire those people to take action, to do things on behalf of others and make a difference in the world around them that leads to measurable impacts that they themselves can see and feel every day when they go outside, when they leave their home or leave the office or travel. That's really what's at the core of it. When people can really get in touch with the difference they make, I think they get inspired to make even that much more of a difference.
Excellent. And Jack, you're up. As the newly named Chief Innovation Officer at Health Union, you've been breaking new ground for some time. What are some of your tips? Oh, one of your tips is to fail fast. Can you expand on this and share your other keys to success? Jack, you're on mute.
Someone gets to drink now. That's online bingo. I'm loving my red jacket. Thank you very much for having me. Failing fast is really about innovation being a test, and every test should have an outcome that might not be good, right? And accepting that a test that does not succeed is feedback, and feedback is a gift, right? So the idea that folks conduct tests and the tests are designed to make sure something works, it's not really a test. There should be a yes and a no path that we can find, and to be willing to see the no and move forward and get to the next one based on what we've learned there. I think the other part of that really is making sure, to Hassan's point, that you create a team, but separate them, right? Put them in the virtual garage so they're not interrupting the day-to-day innovation or delivery or operation of the company. Sometimes companies just try to make it a part-time job for people to do a little bit of this while they're also having major responsibilities. Give them a chance to go in the garage like Steve Jobs and Woz did, and break some things in there without causing disruption in the rest of the organization. It really helps innovation to happen on its own. And they'll get to no's, and that's fine. But the idea that there's people go in the garage not to disrupt kind of leads to my favorite Stephen Covey quote, and I really only have one. And it's the main thing is to keep the main thing, right? That focus is really the critical part of innovation. That you're making sure that, like Health Union and Regal Health got together because we have always put patient empowerment and our cultures and our people as the main thing. And that's something we've never varied from either company both of us over a decade now. So making sure that everyone knows the main thing, and everyone knows if I'm doing something that's not going up to the main thing and I have no idea how it ever will, I should ask someone how to stop. So those are my tips.
Thank you. I love that. Make the main thing, stay the main thing. That focus is so important. Exactly. And Olivier, you are always thinking about transformation, especially as it relates to patients and your people. As Health Union continues to grow, how are you keeping that spirit of innovation, if they're not all in the garage with Jack, at the center of the company's culture?
That's a great question. Like everyone, I just want to thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for your program. And I think thank you for a lot of support that you provide out there to a lot of people. So thank you for that. When I think about transformation, I think about people first. I always say, if you do things good for people, good things will come. I think COVID has only reinforced this need for authenticity. I feel like this new word that's coming out there, like we want to bring people closer together. And I think transformation is about stop talking, but start acting. So I'm tired of people wanting to be authentic. I just want them to be themselves. You will hear me use the word people, not the word patients. We're people first, patients second. We all have something, but we're first people. So for us, the transformation, both for internally, is going to be about being real and authentic and providing value that is strategically unique and different, but in ways that have not been done before, and not just with word, but with actions. I think our transformation is going to be delivered through actions, not through words, quite frankly. I think the other thing is that the transformation of people, especially after the time we went through, is going to be very different from what we had perceived as valuable before. I think we used to put a lot of personal or professional value on big. I think we're starting to put a lot more value on good. You know, what's good for us today might be better than what was big for us before. And I think we're actually going to double down on this value creation of what's right for people first, and also rather than what is good, rather than what is big. So transformation is going to be for us really about people first mentality, driving innovation. And then last but not least, I want the innovation to not come from Jack and I, because we come with crazy idea all the time and we have been willing to innovate and go crazy. The innovation needs to come from the bottom up. And I think that's also something that with COVID and the new way we communicate with each other, we owe it to ourselves to let the people on the ground that actually interact with people every day to have the chance to be the one bring those ideas and try them in the garage that Jack was talking about. So those are the things we're going to focus on. I love the challenge. If anything, I only get a little bit more gray hair, but I love every bit of it. So
that's great. And we're going to get into that nomenclature of people versus patients. And it's been something that's been bandied about for, 10 years now. And so what is the proper way to identify folks who are dealing with a disease? So I wish you continued success, and I like the gray hair. It's all good. Lori, congratulations to you on your transition to the next phase of your incredible journey after 15 years of leading the HBA to become a global standard bearer in the nonprofit world. You have said that one of your keys to success is based on a quote from Lao Tzu: "A leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say we did it ourselves." Please share how this inspired you to inspire your teams to be innovative and challenge the status quo.
Thank you, Taryn, and thank you for what you've done for the industry. I know specifically HBA, you're an incredible advocate for gender parity. So Lao Tzu, it may be perceived that it sort of sounds like the leader's not visible, but it's about teamwork, right? And what is your role as the leader? So a leader is the visionary, but it's so important to help your team members see the possibilities and the role they play in making that future happen. So this is sort of, if you like, a gift. It's about making people feel confident that they can put ideas forward, they can fail, and that's okay. And I think, Taryn, you said it earlier, something around the message of failure is just the last step before you get to success. So changing our mindset, because if you're not trying hard enough and you're not breaking things, it's much harder to fix things. So when that sweet success arrives, people don't look to you. It was your success and they were just, part of it. It's their success, and that makes them more confident and stronger for the next challenge. So another benefit not to forget is that when people have, think about COVID, when they have this one challenge they're trying to overcome, it makes them feel united, right? It bonds them, it energizes to make them want to come to work each day for the team. So, you're stronger and you're more successful when you have a great team. So coaching your people, identifying their superpowers, filling in the blanks. And so what that did for my team, I'll give you one example on innovation. When COVID happened, we really were facing, what do we do with WOTI? So that's our Woman of the Year event. 2,000 people coming for a lunch in New York City. And they come for, if you like, the grin and grit networking. And, how do you replace that? So what I try to do is put that challenge in front of them. This is a challenge, it's a problem, but it's also an opportunity. We have to always look for those opportunities, right? Where is that sunshine amongst the clouds? So instead of a 2-hour lunch in New York, who comes to that? This could be a global event. And what we did, and I won't go into the specifics, but with that innovation and everyone putting their best minds to bear, we attracted more than 7,000 people from 21 countries. So we more than doubled our sponsorship goal, rave reviews. We reached younger people, people that weren't able to come to New York City. So when a team can see their role in making that success, it makes them more confident that no matter what life throws at them, they can handle it. And it's not you, it's them.
I love that. It's not you, it's them. And that's truly the sign of an egalitarian leader. So, and congratulations on that woody success. And you had to pivot pretty quickly. That's a word we've used a lot today, too,
Yeah.
to be agile and flexible. Debbie, you too are a leader of an incredible nonprofit organization, and you have led BioNJ to incredible heights. In doing so, you work with so many innovative companies and organizations. What are some of the core commonalities that you see regarding cultures that strive to be transformative and innovative? Debbie, you're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you. First day on Zoom. I wish. So thank you, Karen, so much for the opportunity, for the honor. It's just really, an amazing honor, and it's been such an amazing day. And you truly are a force of nature. So thank you for all that you do. And Lori, congratulations on your retirement or your transformation. And to all of my fellow Red Jacket and other honorees today, congratulations. So I find that really in any arena, a can-do attitude, an entrepreneurial spirit, and unrelenting drive, I think, make all the difference. And as I look at the universe of our 400 members at BioNJ, including, which includes the largest biopharmaceutical companies, to those, as we say, a man or a woman in a molecule, as well as those who support the industry, these traits are really pervasive in our most successful members. But specific to this industry, and above all else, is an undying, unrelenting commitment to people, as we just heard, or in our case, we more typically say patients. It's really the harbinger of success. The patient is the beacon that guides the leaders from bench to bedside. Because, if you're not 100% committed to your patients, why would you toil for 10 to 12 years and spend on average more than $2 billion to bring a drug to market, right? So meanwhile, each of these attributes ties back then to the common thread of value-centered leadership, which we see through our most successful companies, with a commitment to zero tolerance for those who do not respect and live the organization's values. So wrapping up, bottom line, value-centered and patient-focused leadership are the key to a transformative culture, in my view. Thank you.
It's amazing. Value-centered leadership and zero tolerance for anything but. That's a high bar. Dr. LaBelle, how do your leadership strengths, which stem from your extensive and very accomplished medical training as a physician, translate to leading a global organization focused on bringing innovation to research and development to meet the needs of patients around the world?
Thank you, Taryn, and like the others, let me add my thanks to you for organizing this wonderful event. As you've noted, I have led Sanovian as president and CEO since 2019. It's been an incredibly rewarding experience. But similar to the point that others have made, I would point out the degree to which I feel inspired by the large number of very talented and dedicated employees at our company, and I'm sure others feel the same about theirs, which, while US-based, is, as you noted, part of a global pharmaceutical organization. The presence of our parent company, Sumitomo Dainippon Pharma in Japan, gives really all of us at Sanovian an opportunity to think carefully and thoughtfully about global unmet medical needs, which is exciting and challenging. You kindly noted my medical and scientific background, and I did come up through the medical side of the business and was chief medical officer at Sanovian prior to becoming CEO. And I do believe that this background does allow me to perhaps better understand the experience of patients, families, and caregivers, and as well as the needs of practitioners, and thereby to help identify areas of true unmet medical needs that I think should be prioritized for therapeutic advancement. In addition, my experience as a physician has consistently informed my approach to product development and commercialization. For example, our organization has a great track record of aligning scientific innovation with unmet clinical need in a manner that allows for the commercial healthcare ecosystem to recognize the value in what we do. It's this sweet spot that we aim for, where the interests of major stakeholders, including patients, healthcare practitioners, and payers, come together in a manner that is really aligned as much as possible. That's what we aim for. Now, while this is not so easy to do, I think a medical background lends itself to this holistic view where we all work together with a single overriding goal in mind. That is to address the needs of patients suffering from serious medical illness in an effective, efficient, and sustainable manner. In summary, our work is deeply satisfying, intellectually challenging, and mission-driven, which is at the heart of the culture we've tried to foster at Synovion. And appreciate the opportunity to talk about this here. I could go on, but I think I've used up my time there, Taryn.
Have we lost Taryn?
I think we have to go save Taryn.
She froze.
I think yeah.
Jack Barrett could be a great host. You don't want a French host.
All right, well, we're a group of red jackets, so we can take it from here until he comes back.
Steve, you're next.
Steve needs to talk about innovation and what it means exactly.
Apologies again. I am in Florida, and we are having some rolling thunderstorms come through, so I lost my connectivity again. So my apologies. And I had a redundancy built in, and it failed as well. So I'm so sorry. I was just to comment back to you, Dr. Lavelle, that certainly your organization has a culture that is so focused on innovative thinking and challenging your research and development scientists to ask what's next. We had the opportunity to talk with Stacy Wu today, and she really epitomized how you all are changing and transforming the business of CNS therapies. So congratulations to you again for all of that.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And Stephen, we've known each other a long time, and I want to dig into your area of expertise. And you bring such an interesting point of view to our conversation, and it's based on your background as an artist and your approach to problem solving and innovation. Share with us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Taryn, for and the whole and Pharma Voice for in general for the Red Jacket Award. I've watched this over the years, and I just can't believe that you chose me, and I'm sitting here amongst all these really smart, brilliant people. It's just incredible. But so, thank you. Drawing and painting is all about problem solving. And in school, in art school, and as an art director, you're taught to solve problems. That's what you do, whether it's from a composition standpoint, whether it's from a spatial standpoint, typography, or conceptual. That's really what you're doing. You just need to take that thinking and those skills that you learn and apply it to the job at hand, whether it's a marketing issue or whether it's whether it's a business issue. That's really what it's all about. Problem solving is everything, and it's also it's a necessity. That's what we have to do. That's what our job is to do. And necessity is the mother of invention. So where do all these ideas come from? How do you get them? Ideas come from everywhere and from anybody, and especially innovative ideas. You just have to let yourself be open to not just hear them, but to accept them. And that's what's so great about advertising, because it is a team sport, and together you get to do this really cool, fun thing. And marketing as well. And and free associate. Your thinking has to be all about, forget linear thinking, which is very important from a scientific standpoint and from a finance standpoint and from a lot of standpoints. But when you're talking about innovative ideas, you have to be able to just let these things bounce around in your head and bounce them off people. And then all of a sudden, if you're free enough, all of a sudden these dots start to connect themselves. And all of a sudden you hit one and from something in a whole nother world, in a whole nother channel, all of a sudden pops in and hits there and bang. And that's where the magic happens. And that's all of a sudden it becomes something and everybody did it together. And when everybody experiences it in the room, it's a really cool thing. And we get to see that every day in what we do.
That's why you're the magic man. You and Jack are going to be in the garage together. I can see it.
I hope it's a nice garage.
I would imagine. Stephen, I'm going to stay with you. Let's dig in a little bit deeper too. In terms, you all have your pulse on what is transforming the industry, either culturally, therapeutically, technologically, and so on. Stephen, let's stay with you. What are you seeing? What are you hearing from your clients? What's on the horizon?
Well, that's such a big question, and there's so much to talk about. I mean, that's huge. So let's just tackle culturally. Right now, what's happening in front of us, what we're all living through, is where the way we're working is transformative. Where the working environment, COVID has taught us that we can now work from anywhere in the world, anywhere and anytime, and the days of having to be in the office 24/7 are gone. That's a thing of the past. So, we still, however, need to be in an office environment to brainstorm, to teach, to mentor. And this new hybrid model that we're doing provides incredible flexibility and individualizes how we work. However, there's an inherent problem that we're all seeing, that we're all suffering from, and it's all on the news and everybody's talking about it all the time, is that you never turn off work. Personal and professional has kind of just blended all together. And what comes from that is burnout and all types of depression and kinds of things that we're all dealing with as business owners or leaders of the business. And, it's a real thing. So, the issue is not really what's going on here is whether to work from home or in the office. The issue is how is creating the appropriate balance of in-person collaboration and flexibility.
I think those are very good points, and you're right. We're seeing burnout across the industry. We're seeing people who are leaving the workforce and not coming back, and it's a real thing. As business leaders and as leaders in the industry, we're going to have to figure this out. It's going to be a problem as we move forward. I would like to turn to you now, Dr. LaBelle, and asking you. I know you have your eye on several trends, but what are some of the top trends for you? Dr. LaBelle, you're on mute.
There we go. Neuroscience, Taryn, is the area that my colleagues and I know there's others on this panel here too, are particularly interested in, and it is progressing rapidly. So I thought I could talk about that for a moment. Building on knowledge gained over the last few decades, we're now in a much better position to understand, identify, and find ways to address the complexities of neuropsychiatric illness. I think by investigating abnormalities of brain structure and function at a fundamental neurocircuit level, and going even deeper at the level of cellular and subcellular function, and increasingly by getting a much better handle on the complex genetic substrates of major neuropsychiatric syndromes and symptoms, I think that there are enormous opportunities to contribute to the development of better medications to reduce the burden of illness, to reduce disability, and to improve quality of life. So, for example, at Synovian, we've been able to use very sophisticated neuroimaging techniques to help us understand how a drug candidate might show clinical differentiation from other molecules based on the perturbations of brain function that we see during specific neuropsychological tasks or challenges. And these advances in translational techniques, meaning how we get from a molecule that looks good in the preclinical space to one that actually performs well in the clinic with humans, with patients, represents a clear path forward in de-risking, if you will, and enhancing the success rate of CNS drug development. The second major trend set, if you will, is how AI, or artificial intelligence, is playing an increasingly important role in allowing us to make sense of the clinical study data we generate. We're now able to collect large data sets, in part enabled by digital technology and innovation and the use of remote monitoring devices such as smartphones, wearables, and the like. These things give us a really unprecedented view into the complexities of human behavior. In turn, using AI and machine learning techniques, we can analyze these complex big data sets and make sense of underlying patterns that otherwise would never have been appreciated. At Synovian, we have recently established a new group that works within our biostatistics function, or as we call it, our data sciences group. What we've already seen come out of this is that by using very sophisticated data analytic approaches to large integrated clinical trial data sets, as I mentioned, the new group has been able to already contribute novel insights that allow us to enhance signal detection in our trials, increase the efficiency of clinical trials, and even lower R&D costs. So I believe rapidly emerging scientific advances like the ones I noted, coupled with new and creative digital assessment and data collection methodologies, and accompanying that, breakthroughs in data analysis techniques involving AI and machine learning. These approaches are already proving to be very fruitful and will lead to the availability of important new pharmacotherapies in the future. So those are some of the trends that I would highlight in brief at this point.
It's very exciting, and the science that you're pursuing is so important. When so many other companies have left that CNS space or stopped looking at diseases of the brain, and you have remained focused on that. So kudos to you, and thank you for doing so.
Thank you.
Debbie, I'm going to turn to you. You have your pulse on what's happening in New Jersey, which is the medicine cabinet of the world, they say. So tell me what you're hearing.
Sure, thank you, Taryn. And I couldn't agree anymore with the trends that Dr. LaBelle outlined. So, I believe in, and certainly my hope is that the unprecedented level of funding that we've seen for the industry will remain, that the scientific breakthroughs, some of which Dr. LaBelle was talking about, and advancements will continue, and that the streamlined path to drug development and approvals will survive beyond COVID. So also, that health equity will become the unquestionable standard practice. That has been one of the most positive things to come out of COVID, in my view, that communities of color are being considered in clinical trials and other places where perhaps before they were not. However, one big caution, the conversations in Washington, including a proposal put forth by the Biden administration earlier today, and activity in some of our state capitals are frankly alarming, and if passed, would have just a chilling effect on innovation and patient access. And by some estimates, HR 3 alone could result in 56 fewer drugs over 10 years, according to Vital Transformation. And then the White House Council on Economic Advisors estimates that it could be as many as 100 fewer drugs over the next decade. In New Jersey alone, it would be the elimination of 15,000 biopharma jobs, 72,000 in the overall New Jersey economy, and 19.6 billion less in economic activity in New Jersey alone. And at the national level, we're talking the permanent loss of nearly 1 million US jobs. Truly a catastrophic loss, truly alarming, totally avoidable, with alternative proposals that I think many in the industry are prepared to put forward and work on, and something that I think all of us need to be focused on and working on from our respective vantage points every waking hour until we get this and drug pricing challenges behind us. So, thank you.
Debbie, thank you so much for bringing it. It's very important for us to keep in mind that we are not the only ones who influence the life sciences industry, that we have to manage outside forces as well. Lori, one of your key areas of focus in the past couple of years has been on addressing the gap in terms of gender equity, which Debbie touched on there, in terms of the health equity. But why do you think, if companies get this right, the gender equity, it can be a game changer for the industry?
Well, I'll echo on what Debbie just said about health equity. And so if I back up from that, let's just start out with the premise that a company is its people, and we hear all the time, war on talent. So why would an organization who wants the best people limit their talent pool to half the world's workforce? So I think gender equality is just a mathematical common sense concept. And then over the years, we've seen the data that shows that gender equality parity brings about an organization's performance, which actually turns into financial gains. So I think gender parity makes sense, but shifting to gender equity was so important, because as women started to move up the leadership ladder, and a lot of that was the results of the great work HBA was doing, is the data unfortunately showed that it was white women who were progressing. So while women had better parity stats, it wasn't fairly shared amongst all women. And so sometimes people get confused between equity, equality, all these different words. So let's just do a quick visual. If you have an adult, a teenager, and a child, and they're all trying to look over a fence to see a game or a concert or something on the other side. Equality is where they all have access to a crate to stand on. But the situation is the adult didn't need the crate. They were tall enough. The teenager uses the crate, they can now see over, but the child uses the crate, they still can't see over. So what equity is when you take those three crates, but you give them out a bit differently. So the adult can see, give one crate to the teenager, give two crates to the child. Now all three people can see. And what I would challenge is, if you really want to change the status quo, instead of keeping the women on the outside of the fence, is to take the fence down. But what companies need to think about is, you're trying to bring the best people to the table and bring their whole selves at work, and their tools, their techniques, their understanding. And when you do that, I think that is the value chain that a company can start to see where it's broken. And they can start to learn how to distribute their crates, perhaps, a little bit different, and get that inclusive workforce that they are really trying to achieve. So better financials, better innovation, employees who stay longer, reduced risk. It's really just a game changer for every single company. And I think we all believe an organization is its people. So let's go back to what we said earlier. It's about people first.
Absolutely. And you're right. And the data show that there are outcomes that are much more improved, and a more diverse workforce is more innovative and yields better results. So game changer indeed. Olivier, you have noted that transformation is going to only accelerate. What are some of the things you're keeping your eye on?
Well, I actually think we haven't seen much about it, and it's about to come. It's come 5 times faster than any of us expected. COVID accelerated telehealth by 10 years. Actually, I think the way we will use telehealth in 3 years from now will be dramatically different from today. I actually think the transformation and the blurry lines between healthcare professional marketing activities and what I call people consumer marketing. Many of you, of us, use the word patient. I don't like this. We're people. Will get blurry very quickly. 2 years ago, none of us would have ever heard any major company launching drug fully digitally by communicating with physician in a digital way, which also bring more opportunities for more diverse sets of people to have access to information faster. By the way, it doesn't mean that access is equal. Tremendous amount of work needs to be done on that front. I believe it will be done. It will take time. It will take incredible amount of commitment. But I think also, I mean, it's selfish, but the role of communities and support systems in healthcare, but also in other areas of life, have only multiplied. The value proposition of connection have completely changed. You know, we saw it before and after, and I think it's here to last. Some people don't like it, and I don't think it's not a fact of liking it or not. It's a new normal that's going to continue to evolve. And I think what's going to see is that almost think of it as, you know, I like to think of it as, I try to explain my kids that in our age, we used to have to dial and punch, or even in friends circle to give a phone call to someone. They have a concept that, like, what do you mean circle to go to someone? The digital transformation that is coming in 3 years from now is about equal to the phone turning to the digital cell phone that we use today in healthcare in the next 5 years, not in the next 30 years. That took 30 years to go from a dialing phone to a digital phone of today. In the next 5 years, we would have made that much progress. It's going to be so unique. It's going to make some of us very uncomfortable, but that transformation will represent incredible opportunity for people to be better informed, better served, have better access to medicine, new and old alike, by the way. And I think that transformation will basically be a next generation of change in our world. And we're just going to try to play our role, quite frankly. Jack and I are just thinking that we're just here to try to help people amplify each other's knowledge base in a supported environment. That's basically the role we want to play in that transformation. But it's honestly, it's fascinating. People say, why you keep doing what you're doing? I said, because we haven't started. We're just at the beginning of everything. The transformation is yet to begin, you know, so it's just an exciting time.
It is an exciting time, and I think we all better get comfortable with becoming uncomfortable, because it's going to happen fast. And I think the two of you together, it's a little bit dangerous, to be quite honest, but we'll see where that goes. Jack, you live and breathe people, patient advocacy. Now you've got me not wanting to use that word, Olivier. What are you hearing from your patient people?
Well, people are really excited about the fact that perhaps the rest of the healthcare system is joining them online, in digital, in communities, right? They've been forced to communicate this way by economics, by geography, by their diseases, and now the rest of the world is here on Zoom with us, right? And we're all coming together in that way, and they're really excited about the democratization of those human connections, right? And that's what, again, Olivier and I are excited about, is that's what it all comes down to, is how can we use technology, use digital to enable more of those human connections to happen that make people healthier, make people happier, and connect them to each other, and make them more effective as business people even. So patients are really excited, as are people, to make that connection happen more often, and they're stepping up to become peers now, right? Because on this screen we're all the same, right? So one could be a person who is suffering from an illness, a patient maybe, and the other could be Dr. LaBelle, who is a physician and the CEO of a pharmaceutical company, and we are somehow more equal in this world. So that's been very exciting, and more of patient leaders in our community and others are excited about stepping up, taking paid roles. We celebrate a lot of times. We see people who have been in our community for many years now are being hired and paid and taking on responsible, accountable positions in the healthcare space. So that's a breakthrough, right? It was one thing to have folks in behind a mirror and you're eating the M&Ms and they're out there saying things and you're kind of talking to each other. It's another thing to have them at the table with you, being paid and accountable on a team to work with you. And that change has really been accelerated by what's happening, in COVID, but also by the digital era in general. And it has also led to, I think for pharma especially, an expectation among people that pharma will work with them, that there will be collaboration with patients. Right? I think we've forever killed the actor portrayal on TV ads, which is really that came about because people stood up and said, that's not how people with MS really walk. That's something we can never see again. And there's enough of us out here willing to play that part and tell you the real story, the authentic story of being a patient, that we want to be part of that. And so the expectation of collaboration is very real. And what's exciting, and I think, Laura, you brought it up too, that it works better when we work together. It turns out there's a business case for collaborating with patients, that when you create things that are authentic and genuine and speak to the real patient voice, the real connection with patients, they perform better. They are more effective, whether it's an HCP or or patient communication, they are more effective. So I think my net is the trend is accelerating so dramatically that, and patients are here to receive that.
That's awesome. And, we could spend another hour talking about if the industry's ready for that acceleration.
Right. It's coming either way.
Either way. We have to be ready, right? Whether we're ready or not, it's coming. Asan, you have been so patient as we have gone around the horn, and we're coming back to you. As a futurist, you have your finger on multiple pulses because you have multiple fingers and multiple pies. So I'm going to challenge you to identify a couple of areas that you're tracking that have the greatest potential to transform patient lives.
Well, I love listening to everybody else talk about these things as well. And certainly, I've been a big advocate for decentralization and digitization of clinical trials for 25 years. And I've been doing them for the past 20 years in that way, and working hard to eliminate every paper source out there. And we've done a really good job over the past 20 of doing so. The last paper element that, we finally got rid of was consent forms about, 10 years ago. So it's great to see all of this stuff happening. And over the next 12 months, I think we're going to see about 50% of clinical trials go completely digital and decentralized. And over the next 24 months, I expect the entire industry to be working entirely in a decentralized. That 24-month timeline may be a bit aggressive, but I think that the cost benefit certainly leans so favorably in that direction. It's going to be hard not to go there. The 50% I'll stand by, though, firmly over the next 12 months. I think that on top of that, we're going to see a lot more in the way of targeted therapeutics development, personalized medicine. Certainly, the COVID situation has opened up the door to RNA therapeutics, mRNA vaccinology. We've been talking about RNA and RNAi for 20 years also. And, dealing with RNA and mitochondrial modulation and these things, 15, 20 years ago. And now we're at a point where we got the government funding, the people's support to take on commercial scale up and make these things available. And we're seeing the benefits very quickly. And we're going to see over the next 24 months, another 15 to 20 diseases that are going to be addressed through the mRNA pathway alone, starting with women's health and cytomegalovirus, and continuing on to RSV, HIV, any number of the mosquito-borne tropical diseases, Zika, dengue, West Nile. We may even see obscure things like Nipah, hantavirus, and EEE. A lot of the infectious disease things will be approached in this manner. And then we're going to see a lot in the way of gene editing. CRISPR is certainly something I'm a big supporter of, and its counterpart, TALEN, that fewer people may know about. But gene editing is certainly increasing. We've already resolved 2 or 3 different types of cancer, blood cancers, and there are some other diseases on the horizon that CRISPR looks to be very close to resolving. So on top of all that, I think that, over the next, say, 30 to 50 years, maybe I'll still be around to see the end of that. I don't know. I think that the human lifespan is actually going to increase some 35 to possibly as much as 50%. I think we're going to see people living, well past 100. I think there may be some people who come from very healthy areas that may even be pushing, 130 plus. Maybe some Japanese people that there's a particular island where the people live into their 120s, and I think they may start pushing closer towards 140. I don't know that I'll be among that group. I think I might have already cast my stone in that way years ago. But for our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, it's going to be a very different, earthly existence. And there are going to be different impacts, some positive and some negative. Climate change is a very real factor. These things are affecting health and health outcomes in many different ways. We do have to address those things. Debbie was very correct to point out the issues with the industry and the changing dynamics of employment and industry support, pharmaceutical pricing. These things are all going to affect everyone here and around the world. And we have to be very careful how we take on these issues and either expand or squeeze and shrink these things, all of the things that we're working with here. Because if anything, if we've learned anything over the past year and a half to almost 2 years now, it's that our system is actually very fragile. We must respect it and tread lightly because, it's a very carefully constructed framework. I won't call it a house of cards, right? It's not built on tricks, and it's not built on flimsy science or anything like that, but it's built on trust. And we have to trust each other. We have to work together. We have to collaborate. And as we've seen over the past 18 months in particular, when we do collaborate, we make huge advancements in everything. And working in this type of decentralized format, certainly we have shown that we can do that from anywhere, anytime. I definitely acknowledge the burnout type conversations, but when you love what you do and you do what you love, it just kind of occurs like play, right? And so I find myself, completely mixing work and play all the time. And I never really think much of it because I'm having a great time doing it. But I think other people look at me like, what are you doing? You're crazy. I think that we're going to see great advancement in human potential and in the quality and efficiency of work and achievement. And most of that will be positive. But there will be negatives. There will be the burnouts and there will be the failures. And some of that will fail fast, yes. Hopefully it will fail forward. I'm quite bullish and positive on the future. I think that over the next 2 to 3 years, clinical science in particular is going to dramatically shift. We're going to see possibly an entirely new paradigm in terms of medication science. A lot of the old pathways, old drugs, old products are probably going to be left, not necessarily in the dustbin, but we'll be looking to some very new things, and I think it's exciting. I think that we can all embrace it. Change is scary, and the unknown can be kind of scary, but resistance has proven to be unhelpful.
Yeah.
Futile perhaps, but certainly unhelpful. And if we're going to collaborate and if we're going to create a great world for all of us and for the next generations, then we have to embrace the opportunity and work together to make it great.
Fantastic. Well, Hassan, I'm going to tell you this. You made some pretty bold predictions, and I don't know that I want to live to 140 years old. I'm just saying, I'm having a hard time getting to the next milestone, but we'll see what the future holds. For our audience, we did lose Jack, even though Olivier said he's never really lost, but he did lose power, so he's going to try and make his way back to us. We have working our way to the end of our time together. And I do want to do a quick rapid fire, 1 minute response from everybody. And then we'll get to some of the Q&As that are coming in. Let's do, my challenge to you is to identify the one thing that you believe will fuel change going forward. And we're going to start with you, Hassan. 1 minute, I'm timing you.
The one thing that will fuel change going forward. Human kindness, generosity. We have to trust each other, and we have to give each other a chance and listen to each other and work together. And I think when we come together and do that, we have an opportunity to make great strides.
And he's back. Hi, Jack. There we go. Thank you. I love that human kindness. Debbie, I'm going to turn to you.
Thank you. Mimi Moss signed me up for the 140-year plan. The one thing that, if we have to choose one, I would say hands down is COVID, So much has changed as a result of COVID. Clearly not all of it good, but for better or worse, it's transformed, I think, everything. And to answer your question, Taryn, it's at the top of the list of things fueling change for a healthier world. Just a couple of examples. Telehealth, I guess it was Olivier who mentioned that health is now commonplace and here to stay. Healthier habits in healthcare and at home, more efficient clinical trials, and we've seen that speedier time to drug approval is possible, hopefully here to stay. Meanwhile, COVID has raised the awareness of and created pathways to health equity that otherwise would have taken eons to realize. COVID has been and continues to be devastating on so many fronts, but bringing with it, I believe, many ongoing and still to be revealed blessings. So thank you.
Awesome. And Olivier, 1 minute to you.
Oh my. I'm just going to tell you, people need to put good before well. They need to put the good in them first before the financial return. I think if we all start to think that way, we would provide much better. When I said that, which said something about me that made me very uncomfortable earlier when you presented me, the only thing that did not was that I do believe the companies of the future will be the one that can demonstrate that they are here for the right reasons, that are not primarily driven for financial returns. By the way, it does not mean that they will not. It just means it won't be the primary driver of their return. People need to work for company and feel that company serve them first. And if they do, only great things will happen.
I'm sorry if I misrepresented it, but that's what I was intending to say because I
No. What you did, no. When I said uncomfortable was all the superlatives that you use that are not halfway through, but that's perfectly fine. That was not about it.
Stop blushing. You're fine. Stephen, what is your fuel for change? What is your 1 minute? You're on mute, Stephen.
Thank you. Sorry about that. One word: education. We're still in the same place we were in the 90s. People still perceive the pharma as the bad guys. They see us as greedy and unsympathetic. And I said this back then, and I say it now, and it's a common thread: is we all need to be better ambassadors of our industry. And worse, what's happening today is the world is flooded with misfortune, with misinformation. And if there's going to be people that cannot see the benefits of medicine, we need to educate them and change their perception. It just amazes to me the reluctantness of vaccinating in today's world. We need to educate people and correct this misinformation.
Well said. Lori, I'm turning to you.
Well, I think it comes down again to the people making the decisions. So when all this change presents itself, that we can adapt to it, so that we can have these new medicines brought to bear, et cetera. And the way I believe we're going to do that is by more diverse people at all levels. So those decision makers need to better represent the people we're serving, and that includes caregivers. So really understanding that whole ecosystem, I think, is going to be balanced by that diverse, inclusive, equitable environment.
Fabulous. And Jack, I'm going to hand it to you now. And welcome back.
Well, I think thank you, and thanks for understanding. My phone does this as well when the power goes out. For me, it's exciting that healthcare has always been about human connection and about how technology needs to serve that human connection, right? The more connections we can enable, the faster we can make them, the cheaper we can make them, so anyone can speak to the person they need to get the care, the support, the education that they need. To me, that's a tremendous opportunity, and we are at an era when there is unlimited potential. So what used to be a very linear journey from awareness to diagnosis is now exploded into a constellation of opportunities for human connection, and we need to take advantage of that and empower those.
I love that constellation of opportunities. How hopeful is that? That's wonderful. And Dr. LaBelle, I'm going to leave it to you for our last word before we turn to our Q&A. And you're on mute, sir.
Keep going on mute. Thanks, Taryn. This has been a really great discussion, and the points my fellow panelists have made have really resonated with me in so many ways. Very rich and broad discussion. What I may add and reinforce, and I think this is a point that others across this panel have made several times, but it's worth reinforcing that what is driving us forward and can catalyze change is our connection to each other. We work in an industry that has its natural competitiveness, has its economic challenges at various levels. We heard about the political challenges today, which I agree are absolutely critical that we address. But we also have many points of cooperation and many points of collaboration and interaction, such as the event today. And I think that above all else, what we have in common is a focus on improving the lives of patients, people, and families, and thereby moving the healthcare system as a whole and society forward on a global basis. Fundamentally, this is a very human endeavor. Being human, I think, means living our best possible lives, doing our part, and at the end of the day, leaving the world better off than when we started. And to accomplish that, I think it's the passion of the people across our industry and the connection that's so well exemplified here across the panel that is really driving our ability to harness our collective expertise and improve lives.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. And I see a collective passion here. And I think if there's any group of people who can change the industry and transform it, it's you all. So thank you so much for your tremendous leadership and your vision and having a roadmap as to where we need to go. And not only that, but understanding how we need to get there. So if we have a few minutes left before we are done with our time today, sadly, and I'd like to ask you all a question that has come in twice. So all of you have been named a Pharma Voice 100 multiple times before being made a red jacket. This individual would like to know, have you changed, what has changed about how you lead since the first time you were named a Pharma Voice 100, if at all? Or have you always been this fabulous? So, and I would say you've always been this fabulous, but has anything changed for you over the last 10 years or so in how you lead? Who would like to raise a hand?
I think Debbie.
Debbie?
Sure, I'll be happy to go. So I think and I hope that I'm a much better listener than I was in my younger years, and that I'm perhaps more empathetic and a little less rigid about what's okay and what's acceptable. From in particular, I'm thinking about my team. So hopefully it's all of those things.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's about being more willing to take risks and the importance of failing fast, failing forward. That definitely has migrated for me.
Excellent.
I think certainly adding that keeping the mission of the company as your business at the same time, right? That sometimes there's a mission and it's kitty cat hanging from a tree, and then you're actually conducting your business. Making sure those two things are exactly the same, that everything you produce as a business output is something that will meet your mission, in our case, of that every patient leader, every person that is involved in healthcare that we touch will be happy that we're doing it, and it's not there to make money, but it's there to serve that mission first.
Excellent. Stephen, you were raising your hand.
Yeah, and then I kind of took it down and put it back up and took it down and put it back up, Exactly, Debbie had mentioned exactly how I was feeling. And, there's always that thing everybody says, wouldn't you want to go back 10 years, 30 years? Wouldn't you want to be 30 again? Wouldn't you buy this? And I'm like, absolutely no. I have learned so much from all the mistakes that I have made. I don't want to make them again. So the only way I'd go back is knowing what I know now. And I know that wasn't the question, but it kind of sets up the whole thing. And just by saying that, I made a lot of mistakes and falling down and doing them, you just learn to get back up and figure it out and not make them. So luckily, we're here today and we're better and stronger for it.
and you're moving forward still. So there you go. I know.
Yeah, I agree with Debbie and with Stephen. And you know, the past was the most fun. I never want to have twice.
That's good.
When I first landed on the PV 100, I think it was 2006. I was younger. I was much more aggressive. I was focused on building something different, and we were in a different time. And now I find my interests to be broader and focused on others, focused on making a difference in the world for everyone else rather than trying to climb a ladder myself. And I invest my time in making a meaningful difference, in causing something out there. And I'll put in hard work in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., burn the midnight oil for the sake of other people. And I get joy out of that more so than trying to go and sell the next clinical trial and bring it home. And, I don't want to do any of that ever again, really. No, I mean, I would, and I would do it if somebody wanted me to do it. I certainly know how to do those things. I feel very comfortable with the things that I've accomplished. But my burning desire isn't to go out and recreate what I did 10 or 15 years ago.
Okay.
Hey,
Excellent.
can I tell you something? This is the only picture I have. You used to give this. This is a 2009. I had white hair. I want to tell you something. I had an idea back then that was maybe 10 years too early or 10 years at the right time. I just really believed in it. I had the fundamental belief that it could be done differently. And I think to everyone that is on the line or probably share something here with others is that you need to have beliefs in things before others believe in them. And you can't give up on those beliefs. And like we're talking about things in the future, some of them will be right, some of them will be wrong. But the most important things is to believe in yourself, to believe in your ability that you with others, by the way, nothing would have happened with others for me. So they are part of this recognition to me, but you have to believe you can do it. It starts with the belief that you can achieve what others don't believe can be done. I mean, it's difficult. We sit here and yes, we've achieved a lot of great things, whatever. But for me, I almost start today as if like, how would I have thought about this 12 years ago when most people thought like, what are they doing? Like, what are they thinking? Like, how are they thinking this? And I look at the problems of tomorrow with the same mindset. And sometimes people look at us and say, you guys are crazy. And yes, we probably are a little bit. But the reality is you need to believe, especially in today's environment. I want people to believe that everything is possible. Once you think like this, much more likely to happen.
Crazy good is what that is. And Dr. LaBelle, would you like to have the last word?
All well said, absolutely well stated. I would refer to my evolution and learnings over the last decade or so, really in reference to, in the context of the power of the team, the power of teamwork, the power of collaboration. There's no such thing as an individual contributor. We like to think about that, but you are, whatever you do, embedded in a network, in a system, in a group, in an organization, and no person is an island. There is nothing that one can conceive of achieving that can't be better done more effectively in the context of a team. And so that's been a very impressive to me and growth in my thinking, and I'm reminded of it every day.
And that's a perfect, and because that links back right to where Hassan started us off an hour ago. So thank you so much for making that link. And I can't thank you all enough for all of your inspired leadership, for sharing your insights with our audience today. And Dr. LaBelle, to you specifically, thank you to Synovian Pharmaceuticals for your generous support and sponsorship of this amazing Red Jacket panel. Please note that this panel will be available on demand, probably by midnight tonight, because of the amazing work that Momentum and Raquel are doing on the back end. And we're so grateful to all of our Farmer Voice 100 panelists today who joined us, as well as those who were in our audience asking us really poignant questions. And I'd like to also thank all of our sponsors for today. Synovian Pharmaceuticals again, Calcium, Incendo, Ogilvy Health, Paraxel, Syneos Health, Umotive, Health Union, Medtrix Healthcare, Alnylam Pharmaceuticals, eMeds, Lovelane, and North Highland. And again, I can't thank Momentum Events enough for their wonderful event production and their support and guidance. We couldn't do it without our Farmer Voice amazing team as well. Read, think, participate, our logo from the beginning, and we still stand by it today. So thank you very much for making us the #1 convener of thought leaders across the industry. Now I'd like you to join me at our Lighted Up Happy Hour, where you're going to get a chance to engage with our Farmer Voice 100s, learn more about them and the crazy things you all do. We ask these fun facts. My mind is blown. And win some prizes. So grab a cocktail, use the QR code or the link in the screen to connect to the happy hour, and I'll see you there shortly. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Taryn.
Everyone.